Okay, so I'm continuing the study with Nahum 3 and 2 Kings 2. Um, as I read verse, let me read to you verse 13 and 14. Behold, thy people in the midst of thee are women. The gates of thy land shall be set wide open unto thine enemies. The fire shall devour thy bars. Draw thee waters for the siege, fortify thy strongholds. Go into clay and tread the mortar, and make make strong the brick kiln. So the first part it says, "Behold, thy people in the midst of thee are women," and could it be that Elisha was, due to his lack of confidence at first, he was likened unto a woman? Because Elijah said, "Stay here, stay there," and Elisha, his students say, I'm gonna be with you, I'm gonna follow you wherever you go," and so on. But once Elijah went to heaven, Elisha, his students saw the the chariot of fire and so on. Then he had more confidence at the end, and he was more he was more of a guide to the people, and that's the resemblance I see in this text. And then later on it says, "Draw thee waters for the siege, fortify thy strongholds." The word used for fortifying is the Strong's number 2388, H2388, fortify and strong, which is Hazek. And that's where the name Hezekiah comes from. And I'm jumping ahead, uh, but I want to show you. I want to show you uh, the entire context of 2 Kings. So Hezekiah was he he fortified himself. Uh, he made a pool of water. I believe it was the pool of Siloam, or he somehow managed to bring water in the fort, uh, so that when there's a siege, the people in the fort will have water, and they even stopped the flowing of water so that Sennacherib wouldn't have, or his army, the Assyrians, wouldn't have water as as they're laying siege of the city. So in a way, it does link to that. And there's the continual speech, the continual saying of several kings that during their life they did wickedly, um, and for that reason God uh, slowly advanced his own his own plan against them. In other words, certain kings did evil, so he advanced the Assyrians against them. Or Ahaz did wickedly, so he advanced the Syrians and Israel against them, against the king of Judah. Okay, so welcome back to another part. In this part, we're going to be looking into Nahum and 2 Kings 3. Um, so let's get started. We're going back to Nahum 1, and he did mention he rebuked the sea and maketh it dry. And there's a contrasting link because in in 2 Kings 3, at some point the army had no water to drink, and God provided the water. Uh, so what? Let me narrate you. Let me summarize you what happened in 2 Kings 3. When Jehoram became king of Israel, uh, the land of Moab had rebelled against Israel. Israel um, possessed the land of Moab, and the king of Moab, Misha, presented um, a certain number of cattle. But when they rebelled, he stopped providing the cattle. And what happened was, this this was during the reign of Jehoram. Uh, as they decided to attack, to teach them something, to teach them a lesson. And what happened was Jehoshaphat joined forces with Jehoram. Jehoshaphat being the king of the king of Judah, and the king of Edom joined them as well. However, Elisha. This is the first time that Elijah is prophesying in front of kings, and when, long story short, they came for his advice. Elisha said that if it wasn't for if it wasn't for Jehoshaphat, who was actually the one who um, sought after him, by saying, "Is there not a king? Is there not a prophet among in Israel?" And one of the soldiers of Israel said there was Elisha. The king didn't. The king Jehoram hadn't even recognized at that point, and neither does the king of Edom recognize him. But this is the first time. Maybe it's an introduction to them. I would recommend that you would listen to 2 Kings 3. If you can read it through the chapter, or if you want to listen to the audio version and follow along. I'm not going to read it to you, but as I was reading it myself, it came to me that the chapter had to do with, it was a shadow of Jesus Christ and the crucifixion, because when I looked at the names, the meaning of the names, and the places and so on, the timing and everything, it seems as if the crucifixion is somehow narrated. For example, when you look at the name Elisha means God is salvation. Of course, Jesus is Yehoshua, or Yeshua in Hebrew, which also has a root word of salvation in that name. And when the angel said that they would name the infant Jesus, because he said, because he will save his people, and or God will save his people. So Elisha was the one who was giving the advice. However, the timing of the water coming in, he said that there's not gonna be wind or rain, but you're gonna find water on your way to the battle. and the water flowed at what time? It flowed during the morning sacrifice. When the morning sacrifice was made in the land of Judah, in Jerusalem, that is, that's when the water flowed. And on the one hand, it was a water for life. It was water for the soldiers, for the animals, for the beasts, for horses, that is, for camels, I believe. Um, and as well, on the other side of the from the other angle, the king of Moab sees that it looks like blood by the reflection of the sun, and on and it was the place was the wilderness of Edom, and Edom was named red, was named Edom because it was red, and that looks like the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, his blood being on him as he was bleeding, and so on. On the other hand, for us to look at the crucifixion, it's we see the source of life from one angle, but on the other hand, it's the source of death. Anyways, um, also when you look at the name Misha, Misha is the king of Moab. Moab means of the father, and Misha is the king of Moab giving sacrifices, giving sacrificial animals, that is, to Israel. And Misha means salvation as well, with the Mayim prefix. The first letter M is a prefix to Isha, or just like Elisha, and the king of Moab is Misha. So both Elijah and Misha have the same root word in their names, which is salvation. Um, so he provided the king of Israel sacrificial animals, but then when he rebelled, uh, he stopped providing. Another thing to keep in mind is that the country of Moab, or the Moabites, are known for, in the Bible, are known for sacrificing infants, as opposed to other nations that are mentioned in the Bible, as far as I know. But I mean, later on, it is known throughout other cultures that they used to do the same things, like sacrificing to Kronos, the Titan, or and so on. Um, but I don't know. I don't endorse it, but I find it's, how is it that sacrificing children was attributed to Moab? Like, why is it that Moab became that violent, as opposed to Ammon, or Edom, or Israel? But I mean, later on, the kings of Judah uh, adapted to that custom, by making sons and or children pass through the fire, whether it be actual sacrifices, or simply symbolical purification, or I don't know. But Moab means from the father, and they have the habit of sacrificing the son, and Jesus Christ was the son of the father. And I see a link somehow to the sacrificial work of Jesus Christ.